I'm here today and have the great pleasure with having an interview with Mick Docker. Hi, Mick. How you doing?
Very well, thanks, David.
Good, good. And this is obviously in the same subject as all the other interviews we've done through their eyes. And it'd be very interesting to look through Mick's eyes today, where he's perhaps at a different stage of his career of other people that we've interviewed. And this is, I think, going to be really interesting and will obviously help a lot of people who are approaching his current situation that he's going to tell us a lot more about. So let's just crack on then. And sort of, ask Mick about, how's your career been to today? If you could just give us a brief overview.
Certainly. I've always worked in the IT industry. I've worked both for various companies in the financial sector and consumer goods, and also I've spent about 10 years working on the consulting side as well. If I wanted to explain what have done in a sentence, it's the design, the delivery, and support of IT systems. The roles I've done include developer, or back in my day used to be called computer programmers, project management, IT governance and standards, and a lot of change management as well. I've also had the benefit with the companies I've worked for of working internationally, both in terms of travel, spending time abroad, and also working as part of global teams.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So you've spoken to me about this in the past, about sort of having life and career stages. How do you see them?
I think with this really does come back to some of the core messages you have on future-proofing yourself, that it changes as you go through life. And I think in my case, definitely, my career has reflected that. Early days, just out of full-time education, you get your first jobs, it's all exciting. There's a huge adjustment to the working life, no longer staying in bed until 10 o'clock or staying out till 3 in the morning. With myself as well, working in the IT industry, I started off with a job with a very technical focus, really laying the foundation for my career. At that stage, early career, it's all about learning wherever you can, gaining the experience, and really figuring out what you want to do. I think the next stage in it is mid-career, where you've got the basics under your belt and you need to extend yourself a bit. Again, this is where future-proofing comes in, I think, where you need to take a broader view of what you do to progress. So in my case, it was expanding from largely a technical background into a more commercial business-facing view. At that time, in my late 20s, I did an MBA which back in the 90s was very popular, to give me that broader breadth of understanding. And mid-career also coincides with big changes in your life, where you settle down, you have kids, you've got a mortgage, suddenly you've got all these responsibilities as well. Exactly. Yeah. So the two sort of go hand in hand. And in my case, it's quite interesting. It made me a little more risk averse in terms of, I want to make sure, obviously, I've got these responsibilities. I have family I'm responsible for now. So I was less prone to job hopping, thinking, oh, this looks like a good opportunity, because, if it fell flat on its face, I might be in a difficult position. Also, in terms of mobility as well, as I said, I've always worked for large organisations with a global footprint. There have been times where opportunities may have come up to have worked abroad for a period. I'm a bit of a homeboy, and I really passed on that. It was the sense of giving the family some stability, especially as the kids were going through the early stages of their education as well. But from a job point of view, it's really about, and I think this is a term that you hear a lot these days, about building a portfolio of relevant and transferable skills and expanding that as well. So away from the core stuff I originally did, I started getting into things like project management, a lot more business engagement, and learning from that. Because in what I do, you need to have a reasonable understanding of all aspects of the business. You know, one day you
Yeah.
could be talking to, you know, someone on a production site, the next day it's a marketeer, next day it's an accountant. So
Yeah.
you need that breadth of experience
Yeah.
to go hand in hand. And the benefit of that as well is that it gives you a broader scope for what you want to do next.
Yeah.
And for the bulk of what I'd call my mid-career, it was about project management, working in a variety of locations with very, very different groups of people, both by nation and
Yeah.
by the part of business they're into. And that's something I've always enjoyed, that people connection,
Yeah.
even right up to today. And I'll say a little bit more about that in a minute. But you know, the overall game plan there was effectively to stay current and stay employed,
Yeah.
because, as
Okay.
we said, of the
So that's the mid-career.
responsibilities.
So that's the mid-career.
Yeah.
What's the bit after that?
Well, it's really where I am now. I'm in a position where, at some point in the next few years, I'll think about stopping working. But over the last, especially over the last about 4 or 5 years, my roles moved more away from the frontline doing to providing subject matter expertise in various areas, acting more of in a consultative role, a lot of advisory support and coaching work, and also building up a very big span of contacts,
Yeah. Yeah.
again, within the organization I currently work for.
But obviously, you know, at a different stage of your career, you know, perhaps responsibilities, and does life give you the opportunity to go back into your career a little bit more and get more involved in areas that you hadn't done because, you know, of responsibilities and the financials and the mortgages
Very
and
much so. Yeah, very much so. And I think one of the huge changes, especially over the last 4 or 5 years, and especially right now, as we're all still in lockdown,
yeah,
um, is how that's changed. You know, it's no longer jumping on a plane and going to
yeah,
wherever. It's about actually engaging with
yeah,
people, as we're doing right now,
yeah, yeah.
because the technology's there.
Okay. So
Um,
you say you're coming towards the end there. So where are you now? What's the next steps? What's the challenges you're now faced?
I still really enjoy working. And as I said before, I just love the contact I've got around the world, the people I know.
Yeah,
Today, I've spoken to people in India, South America, and Glasgow. You know, that's great. And I think that's something I'd really miss. And looking at it in a slightly different way, from a timeline almost, I've been working for more than the last 35 years.
yeah,
You know, and that's been a big commitment. My kids are now in their early 20s, you know, so almost clear of that one.
yeah,
And it's about what happens next. And I know a lot of your future proofing talks about keeping yourself employable, but my read on it as well is it goes beyond that. And that's very much why we're having this conversation today, where if you think about it, one of the ultimate litmus tests of future proofing is being able to actually move on at a certain point and be in a
yes,
position to do that.
yeah,
And we'll obviously get into this in a minute, but it's about you know, having something in place so you don't suddenly hit that cliff edge
yeah,
at a certain age, think I'll stop working, and then think, well, I've been very busy for the last 35 years.
yeah,
What am I going to do with myself now? What's the
yeah,
purpose?
yeah,
What do I really want to do that I haven't been able to?
yeah. So what are those challenges now? What are those specific challenges now?
For me, I'm quite a structured person. You know, I like to have a plan, and we all get tied up in the here and now, today, the short, medium term. And one area I'd say I haven't really future-proofed myself is thinking about what happens next when I stop working.
Yeah,
It's, you know, how do I fill my time? What would gets me out of bed in the morning, if you like.
yeah,
Um, and for me, it's something more than just having a bucket list, which, like
mm,
everyone else, I've got a huge one. But it's something more than just ticking things off that. And there's a bit more structure there. And that's really where I am right now, trying to figure out what that means,
Yeah.
what that looks like.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a bit like sort of, yeah, have a bucket list, but also I need a purpose, because
Exactly.
you can't spend all your time doing your bucket list. Okay, yeah, you know, it becomes hobbies and things, which are great, but yeah, it's that sort of more interest, that more feeling of purpose and of value,
Yeah,
which I think
exactly.
is a a fascinating conversation that often we as human beings don't really sort of think about it. What is my purpose? What is my value? And I guess when you come to retirement, it does change a lot.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it there. It's actually the word value. I think while I'm working, I'm providing value
Yeah,
through the relationships
yeah,
I have, through the expertise
yeah,
and experience I've gained over the
yeah.
years. And
So
suddenly
yeah,
that would stop.
yeah. So why is retirement such a scary thought?
Hmm. Um, Firstly, it's the sort of perception and connotations around it. Bus passes, a big day out going to the garden centre, the term pensioner, the term old age pensioner. Yeah, I'm none of that yet. I've got a load of stuff I want to do, but there's still that connotation. Um, I think the view of becoming a gentleman of leisure is something that suits me more. It's just a matter of figuring out what that looks like.
Yeah,
Um, as I said before, the last huge chunk of my life has been around work, family. Okay, a lot of fun down the way, but that is a big chunk.
yeah,
You've
yeah.
probably heard this before, that the average working person spends more times with their colleagues
Mm,
than their friends, families, and other loved ones.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's so true for all of us.
Which I dare say under lockdown, lots of people were going, yeah, tell me about it.
Oh yeah, can't wait for the office to open again.
So you've often spoke about the concepts of a simple life. What are those concepts?
For me, it's fairly straightforward. It's having the time to do what I want, when I like, with whom I like, wherever. It's very simple. It's
Freedom.
freedom, absolutely, in one word. Yes. Um, Whether I could hack that, all the time, which comes back to the purpose thing as well. It sounds great. Um, I've really enjoyed these days under lockdown, especially the last few weeks where the weather's been glorious and
Yeah,
just, you know, nothing to do and all day to do it.
yeah, yeah, good stuff. So what does a sense of purpose mean to you then, and value?
I think they're two different things. I think the purpose is very much um, what makes me tick. What do I get, if you like, value from myself?
Mm,
Um, it's about uh, doing something more than just a constant stream of holidays, visits, and things like that. And I must admit, and we've spoken about this before, this is my main current future-proofing stumbling block. I haven't figured out what that is.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but if I could share some of the ideas and coaching you've mentioned to me previously,
yeah,
just to start that process, so it may resonate with others. Um, I think it's about understanding the opportunity. This is a huge life change. It's probably the, next to starting work, having a family. It's probably up there with that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and to make the most of it, you've got to figure out what it really means and what you want to get out of it.
yeah,
So questions like, what makes me happy? What do I want to do? What do I want to learn? And very importantly, what do I want to stop doing as well?
yeah,
Because there are certain habits there that are ingrained with your working life
yeah,
that actually become irrelevant.
yeah. And that sort of links in also to your values, and think about what is one's values that you want to sort of, continue to live your life by.
Yeah, and I mean, this might sound a bit corporate, but I've lived in that culture for the last 30 odd
Yeah,
years, and just the type of things when I think about myself and what I value is about being optimistic. It's not
mm,
blind positivity, but you do see that there are bumps in the road, but it's a thinking, yeah, I can get through that. Um, Keeping learning. I mean, that's something that I think is even more important, no matter what your age is now, to future-proof yourself. We live in a
Yeah,
world of change. So, and change happens very quickly and constantly. So you have to just keep learning. There's some great stuff out there on the internet around open mindsets, growth mindsets, um, treating every day like a school day. You
yeah,
know, you learn every day, and don't put the shutters up. It
yeah,
doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're
yeah,
25 or 55.
yeah,
There's still stuff out there to learn. Um, I actually do like helping and being with others where I can. I must admit, I'm going to be totally honest, I'm not a person who's going to dedicate their life to charity once I finish working, but it's still good to help where you can. What form that might take, I don't know. No, maybe a bit of volunteering, maybe using some of the skills I have to help people or organizations or startups where they just don't have the resources to do that.
yes, yes,
I always
yes,
get a
yeah,
big buzz out of sharing
yeah,
and coaching, which I
yeah,
think is important. I think the couple of the other type of values that are important to me is, and again, this comes back to the sense of purpose, is actually having a plan.
yeah,
You know, not just taking each day as it comes and in some random way. I do need some kind of underlying theme there. And also, and I think this is something important for everyone, being authentic. You know, what you see is what you get.
mm,
You know, try and be a good person. Yeah, I won't sound like that all the time or 100% of the time, but that's always what my default position is, so we say. And probably last and most important, just no matter where you are in life, have fun and celebrate things.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, it certainly seems like, although you feel you haven't sort of cracked what it is and what you are going to be doing, you've made some big strides there in sort of starting to think about those things. Are there any sort of particular activities in terms of reflecting and thinking that you're going to try and do to help you sort of find that sort of future-proof road into retirement of feeling valued and having a purpose?
Yeah, it was something you said to me in a previous conversation about, yeah, at certain points in the day, just write down where you'd like to be and what you'd like to be doing right now.
Yeah, how
And I
would you
think
like it
that,
to be? Yeah,
yeah, and I think it's bigger than that as well. Um, you know, it's conversations with Sheila, my wife, about where do we want to be? It's not just
yes,
me, it's about us.
yes,
And you know, we need to sort of work on that one together. It's not going to be a tough job, but it's a process to go through.
yeah,
There will be differences, but at the same time, there'll be a lot of common ground as well.
yeah, yeah, very much
Um,
so. And it
yeah,
is constantly just, yeah, think about those things, even just simple things in the morning. Do I just want to make sure that I do get up and enjoy the air and take the dog for a walk and just come back and enjoy that? Or, is it interacting with other people? Is it just creating that time to read or watch films? Or, as you say, to go and help others and do different things? And it's just, I think sometimes that question's quite a good one, just to think, yeah, how would I like my mornings to be? How would I like my weekends to be? Or, because I'm, I always like to do totally different things at the weekends I do
oh yeah.
during the week. And people say, well, why don't you do those during the week? I says, yeah, but I really look forward to them at the weekend. It's my sort of, what's the word? It's my reward, to go cycling, go and watch football and whatever. Whereas I've always been just focused on the on the work side. So yeah, that's good. Okay, well,
And it's,
that's, you know,
oh, sorry, I was just going to say, and that a lot of that's down to the hours in the day as well. I mean, outside of lockdown, I work in London, so as well as a full working day, I've probably got a couple of hours commuting as well wrapped
yeah,
around it.
yeah,
So even if I leave home at 8, I get home at 7, especially in the winter months. That doesn't leave very much to do anything else.
yeah, yeah.
So I mean,
And I
that's the big change.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, it is then thinking, what can I do constructively with those hours that at the end of the week I go, yeah, I've enjoyed that, and I think that's the
Yeah.
important part.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
and,
mm.
and I think that's a good question to ask ourselves at certain times of the week. Have I enjoyed that? Yeah. Well, if you have, that's a great sign of success in my book.
And actually, that enjoyment piece is very important. And as I was saying before, I love the connection with people, especially where I'm fortunate enough to be now, is that I talk to people from all over the world virtually every
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
And in these times of COVID, it's very interesting talking to someone from India
yeah.
about their
Well, you
experiences.
just
You
have
know,
to keep
totally
those
different.
relationships going and keep in
Yeah,
contact.
but there is that. But it's also a case of, well, I know I like that. How do I then replicate it in the same way? Because a lot of those great relationships are based around your working life rather
Yeah, it
than
doesn't
your
stop you keeping in
social life.
contact with
Oh no,
people.
absolutely not. Yeah,
And I think
totally agree.
that's, a lot of people, when I talk about networking and things, they go, oh, don't want to go networking. No, it's just about having relationships with people you enjoy speaking to. And you just sometimes have to manage that and think, right, no, I will make the effort to contact that person and see how they're doing. And they normally love it when you do.
Oh,
And
of course.
it's just being I think sometimes we all make that mistake of waiting for other people to contact us. Oh, no one's contacted me. Well, yeah, sometimes we
Yeah.
just have to go and make the effort. And I had a lovely email this morning from somebody that I'd actually written to about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they just said, thanks for getting in contact. Sorry I haven't replied, but actually, you're so good at keeping in contact. It's really appreciated. And perhaps I haven't been thinking about that like that all those 3 weeks, thinking, why haven't they replied? But they have been incredibly busy. But people do appreciate it when you do keep in contact. So perhaps that can go on your list of,
Thank you. Yes.
get a map up on the wall of the world and think, yeah, I need someone there, need someone there, need someone there. And I don't know, perhaps reintroduce the old pen pals. I know Facebook has taken over from that, but maybe an
Mm.
idea. So
But but actually, just coming back to that point, David, if you switch it round, you know, how do you feel when you randomly get a contact from an old friend or someone you haven't spoken for yet? It's wonderful, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's nice, unless they're after something.
Good point.
Yeah, it's normally to sponsor them because I sponsor anyone, and they all know I'm always good for a sponsorship. Yeah, so brilliant. That's put a real sort of different light on through their eyes. Yeah, we look at future proofing ourselves, as you said, through those different stages of the career. But I think sometimes we do forget that, when we come to the end of our working career, another life starts, and it is
Yeah.
about creating value, purpose, interests, bucket lists, whatever we want to call, and making sure that we manage those effectively, obviously for the benefit of our well-being and for those around us. So, thank you very much for your time here, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. And hopefully, the football season will be up and running again in August, September, and we can go back to watch a bit of football, hopefully at some stage. So, thanks for your time, Mick.
Wonderful. Thank you, David. It's been fun.
Okay,
Cheers. See you soon.
see you soon.